Ultimate X Men is taking place almost at a rebirth. The Maker, in his genius, recreated Earth to prevent anyone from becoming superheroes. Not only did the Maker put a hold to superheroes, but he also now has a secret council of high-powered villains lurking in the shadows. Now, what is interesting, the Maker's crew is Sunfire, Viper, and Silver Samurai, who oversee the Eastern Territory. They refer to it as Hainokuni, the land of the sun. And their journey is about to change the life of a young girl. Her name is Hisako Ichiki, and she is about to F around and find out. This issue is written and illustrated by Peach Momoko, and throughout the past couple years, she has done a lot of variant cover art. So, for your boy, this is the first time I read anything Peach Momoko has written. That's a dope-ass name, right? Peach Momoko. I dig it. Anyway, the art in this issue is amazing. And before now, I did not know what the hype was all about in her work, to be real with y'all. Well, what makes it amazing is the beautifully colored pastels that almost look like crayon, which is commendable, as it also complements the simple detail in the artwork. Now, as far as the writing is concerned, let's just get into the story. Hisako seems to be a girl with bad social anxiety. In fact, for the last 3 years, she never even attended school. So, here, they set the stage as Hisako struggles to attend her own graduation. There really is no way for her to duck it. Hisako must be present for it. Meanwhile, Hisako's thoughts are rumbling about, Nervousness is starting to anchor itself inside of her. This is until one of her classmates runs up to her and hands Hisako a button. The button is supposed to signify that a boy has a crush on her, preferably the second button because it's close to the heart. As this random kid is speaking, she turns to show Hisako the boy who sent the button, but he is no longer there, and Hisako is examining it. The button, it's kind of unique. The girl runs off to her friend and Hisako overhears them making fun of her. She's weird, creepy, full of depression, etc. This just makes Hisako second guess and question coming to the school for the graduation. But as soon as that thought lingers, she notices a tiny note in the loop end of the button. At the same time, there is a darkness present, which disappears when Hisako turns around. Now, her anxiety has risen a little. She opens a note and reads it. The note said for her to meet this person at the temple in the mountain, whoever gave her the button. The time has come, my friend. Hisako focuses on this part of friend, like what friend? Now her mom calls, which scares the hell out of her. Hisako is encouraged to have dinner with her grandma because her mom is going to be working late. But on her way back home, she takes that trip to the temple to find who the mysterious note writer is. As Hisako sits and reflects on her decisions today, she also doubts that there is really an admirer until she notices a boy standing by a tree, and this freaks her out. At this point, assuming she is delirious or seeing things, a black shadowy figure emerges, telling Hisako he knew she would come. The shadow, that is what, we'll call him for now, claims to be offering friendship. This is creepy. Hisako clutches on her purse. Like, who are you? Did you leave the note? She asks him. The shadow acknowledges it's him and gives her a gift. Hisako is shocked and has all kinds of questions now. The shadow speaks in these weird whispers, and he mentions Tsubasa, which means wings in Japanese. Tsubasa, we see, is now the boy who was at the tree. The shadow's words make Hisako flash back to a happier time in her life. Tsubasa was a good friend to her, kind, and possibly they had crushes on each other. But this is why Hisako was in shock, because the shadow gives her the same gift as Tsubasa gave her. Hisako was smiling and laughing, so this kid was someone that made her happy. However, the boys at school did not feel the same way as Hisako. Tsubasa was bullied and overpowered by these boys. He was frightened and in a way reached out to Hisako for help. The shadow is like, look, we didn't listen to his cries for help, and all you did was tell him to be tough, in a way leaving him to the devices of the bullies. The shadow goes from 0 to 100 with the darkness by saying, you know we killed him, Hisako. Admit it. He's going in too. This is why you stopped going to school, and now you deny responsibility for his death. And all those creepy whispers. You need to own up to it. I have. This is a young girl that just graduated middle school, and the shadow is talking her into vengeance. Hisako doesn't want to hear anymore. She is yelling for him to stop and pleading her case about how she tried to help. Then he disappears. Like creepy noob cyborg looking shadow demons things that they do. And Hisako feels this chill come over her, almost like an eerie wind that leads her to pick up a piece of paper on the ground. Evidently, what was written made Hisako say, "Ugh." Then she feels a toe tapping her on the back of her head. Then, of course, she turns around and pow! A dead Tsubasa hangs in midair, dangling. Like the rope is still wrapped around his neck. He's just dangling in the air. Hisako hauls whole ass down the temple steps and hightails it on her bike. Can you imagine what this young girl is thinking, pedaling at the speed of light? Hisako just keeps thinking in her head, I'm sorry. But, she is like, it wasn't my fault at the same time. How can I take responsibility for this? How? The whole time, though, Tsubasa is talking to her, calling her a hypocrite for running away. Hisako is going insane. This has been quite the day for this young lady, let me tell you. Hisako is hysterical to the point she isn't paying attention to where she is going, then runs right into traffic head on to a moving car, and the guy driving is drunk off his ass. And right at the point of impact, she is engulfed in this big pink spirit, and the car's front end gets demolished as if he hit a sequoia tree or something. Hisako, in shock from all of it, doesn't even know this nameless pink spirit creature that saved her until she turns around. So she didn't even know that she had been saved. Like she's gone in shock. But it smiles and waves and follows the whole same disappearing trend that the Black Shadow just did. So he saved her, and then whoosh, he vanishes. Now Hisako is staring at this wrecked vehicle that almost killed her, knowing she will never be the same again. Now here is where Hisako admits to herself that everything she ran from has come full circle, all at once. The next day, Hisako was curled up, forearms over the knees, bunched up. This is a lot for anyone to take in, let alone a middle schooler. The news is on, speaking about the crash that leaves the drunken driver in critical condition. But he was still able to give a statement claiming that he saw a girl and swerved and hit something. But of course he looks crazy because no one knows what he hit. And now not even her mom knows it was Hisako, what the news is talking about. And the only thing she can do is take in guilt and shame. Then Hisako, I guess, puts her brave pants on, grabs a charm from yesterday. She storms downstairs, doesn't eat lunch with her mom and granny. Hisako's mom, she really has no clue, but she does sense the anger because she's reading it in Hisako's face. Only thing she said was, hey, don't forget your key, don't get into trouble, and I work late. But Hisako was on a mission, right back on the bike again. So we get an inclination that she is a brave girl, despite her ordeal yesterday. Hisako is heading along the same route as the day before and overhears two people gossiping about the accident. But she keeps going until she reached the steps of the temple. We find out she went back to pay homage to Tsubasa and leaves flowers at the tree, thus symbolizing that was where his death took place. In addition, this is also why there are markings by the tree, which I believe to be notes that people in Japanese culture leave for their dead. And that's why the note she picked up the other day didn't sit right with her. Then, old Shadow Man comes back with Hisako's diploma in its hand, accusing her of having a guilty conscience and only coming back to retrieve evidence. Hisako stands up to him now. Fear leaves. It becomes a seething anger inside of her. She's like, don't try to group me in with your feelings. I don't want to ally with you. You need to just stop the BS and tell me what this is all about. Now the Shadow has the nerve to get in its feelings, and it gets all offended, just straight feels like he is getting upset. So after the Shadow gets over himself, he's like,
I was here for you, to help guide you through your issues. It's time for you to stop playing victim. All you do is hide in that shell of a body.
But as the Shadow is getting worked up, it releases this dark matter at Hisako. Then it makes further accusations calling her a traitor and threatens to rip out her soul right from her body. But unbeknownst to the Shadow, the pink spirit blends his body in with Hisako, forming a protective covering, totally blocking the Shadow's dark matter attack in an epic fail. But the Shadow is still going.
This is your fault. Tsubasa trusted you. You failed him, etc.
Hisako is like, this is crazy. I must be dreaming, right? Then the pink spirit grabs the Shadow with both hands and starts squeezing him. I mean, the spirit's eyes are about to pop out of his head, and he's still popping shit. Like, the Shadow's eyes, and he's like, oh, a dream.
A dream, huh? Tsubasa's death is just a dream? Well, it doesn't matter. Guess what? I already put a curse on you. As a matter of fact, the next victim is someone you know.
Hisako is just mentally exhausted now and tells him to shut up while throwing the charm at him. Both entities are now gone, and the charm lands at the feet of a ghost Tsubasa. He's like, it's too late, Hisako, and you might want to answer your phone. The person on the other line is saying that Tsubasa's former coach hung himself, and now there are rumors that the coach was bullying Tsubasa. The time for trauma is now over. Tsubasa is gone, the Shadow is gone, the protective spirit gone, and the young Hisako becomes aware, nonetheless questioning who these two beings are and why one tried to harm her while the other protected her. But Hisako does know one thing. Someone opened a box of people's hidden sins, their hidden dark secrets. And now, Hisako was on a mission to find out what they want from her and why. Whew! Man, I got some questions, but they are the same as Hisako's. What the hell is going on? These entities didn't even introduce themselves. What did the coach do to Tsubasa? Was that the breaking point that made Tsubasa commit suicide? This necklace or charm she holds in her hand, is it harboring an undiscovered magic? Will the Hinokuni of Sunfire, Silver Samurai, and Viper be introduced, like in the next issue? The last time I remember Silver Samurai is when he was in the beginning issues of Wolverine in the early 90s. But Peach Momoko, you got my attention. This was a thrilling issue, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I cannot wait to read the second issue and what is to come. That was my take on it. But what do you think? Leave me your comments, hit that bell, and show some love. This issue right here is dedicated to Women's History Month with a solid issue from Peach Momoko. This is Molecular Maurice. Thank you for tuning in to the Unmasked Comic, where we have comics on the go, bro. Yeah, baby. See you soon.